Hey guys, and welcome back to another Road to the Playoff schedule review video. I'm here with Kale, no tie today, and we're doing the Columbia Bison today. So let's get started. First game is the Rapids. I'll start first. Um, about a week ago, we probably both would have said the Rapids by a lot, but I'm actually going to say I'm still going to take the Rapids. I'm going to say in a close game and a kind of a high-scoring game. Not because I think there's going to be a lot of hits, but think there's going to be a lot of walks and a lot of runs walked in. So I think it might even get up to the 7, 8, 9 range. But I think the Rapids will probably win by 1 or 2.
Yeah, I see the way I see this is whoever's going to be starting for the Rapids, most likely Sean, is going to be playing out of position. Sean's not really a pitcher; he's an outfielder, but they don't have any other pitchers on that roster besides Ty. So whoever takes up that role is going to be playing out of position. So I think being that the Rapids' first game, whoever that is going to really struggle. So I think the Bison have a chance in this game. But I just think there's more talent on the Rapids side. So I'm still going to go with the Rapids, but it's definitely going to be close. And I won't be surprised if the Bison pull off a win in this game, but I'll say Rapids by like 1, 2.
Yeah. All right. So game number 2 for the Bison is against the Storm. That's correct. Yes, the Storm. So why don't you go first on this one?
The Storm. It's a winnable game again for the Bison.
Yeah.
I mean, we just did the odds, and they had the worst odds of any team, like 45-1, and then ranked last in the power rankings. But I'm looking at their schedule. I mean, and we know the National Conference 2 through 5. Pretty wide open. I mean, really, any of them could slip in there at the 2-3 spot and make the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Bison have an opportunity in JL13 to get back to the playoffs like they did in JL11.
Yeah.
In this game,
and I think this game is their best opportunity.
I think it is too. I think a 1 and 2 team is honestly going to make it in from the National Conference. I think if they either steal this game or the Rapids, they'll have that. They'll have a shot. I think whoever gets in, if it's a 1 and 2 team in the National Conference, probably going to come down to a point differential. Decision. So it'll determine how much they are winning or losing by in these games. But I think they could win both. I think this one has a little bit more chance just because I'm not a big believer in Storm.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is their best chance. This game is their best chance to win, and I actually do think that they will win this game. I think they will. They won't go 0-3 this tournament. And I think this one will be a really close game too. Probably another high-scoring one because there's not a lot of pitching on either side. The one wild card in this game is Tyler for the Storm, who we haven't seen. But I'm still gonna take the I'm still gonna take the Bison in a close game, and they're not gonna go 0-3 in this tournament.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick the Bison too. Tyler Hudson. It's definitely a wild card, like you said. He could be good, he could be bad. We have no idea. Maybe he'll pitch for them, maybe he won't. Yeah. If he's a good pitcher, that would be a really big factor for that team. But just where we are standing now and the knowledge we know now, I'll take Bison by 1 or 2, like you said. And I think a high-scoring game. I think you're correct there.
All right, and then the last game is against the Bambinos. Correct. So I'll start this one. I think this one is a loss, and I think it's a pretty clear loss. Tyler for the Bambinos looks much improved as a pitcher, and this will be their last game, I think. So he'll have 2 games under his belt. I think he'll be pitching pretty well. I think they'll be hitting at least okay, and I don't think the Bambinos will hold up. So I think it'll be 3 to 5 point victory run victory for the Bambinos.
I think a lot of this game has to do with the situation, which we can't really talk about now because we aren't going to know what it's going to be then. Both this for the Bambinos and the Bison, this will be their last game of the regular season. Maybe if the Bambinos are in a must-win situation and the Bison aren't, really, they're kind of already eliminated.
Yeah,
they're 0-2 going into that game, and they're thinking, this isn't the game we projected to be circled on the schedule here that we need to win. Maybe they kind of mail it in, and the Bambinos are really going for it. Maybe it's the opposite. maybe the Bambinos have come out and they're 0-2, and they have really not done what everyone expected of them to, and they're really down on themselves or whatever. And the Bison are right there trying to get in the playoffs, and they're really motivated. So I think that is going to have a big implication on how this game turns out. Strictly without knowing that and just looking at it on paper, thinking about the matchup between what both teams bring, yeah, the Bambinos are definitely the better team here. They should win. I would say the Bambinos have offense, and the Bison don't unless the other team has a bad pitcher, which they will in those first two games. But like you said, Tyler, who sounds like is going to be their starter, and Nate, if he comes in and throws relief, he's a starting, level pitcher for them too. I just don't see it for the Bison in this game. So I'll go like 4 or 5 runs. This could be a blowout potentially.
Two things I want to add to this is, one, and I think this will have the biggest, because I still think they'll beat the Storm, obviously. But against the Rapids, like you said, that's a very winnable game. One thing that's big is Michael Screen is out for this tournament, and he's kind of one who provides a lot of the hits and a lot of the scoring. For the Bison, so that could be big. That could actually result in winning or losing a couple of games. And the other thing I want to point out is, for this last game that you were saying, depending on the situation, it is possible that if the Bambinos are already in, they decide to, try Caleb Carroll or something and see what he can do if the game doesn't matter. So, but like you said, on paper, if they're both playing their teams, I think the Bambinos win by quite a bit.
All right, now let's say, just for the sake of this video, the Bison were able to get into the playoffs, which is possible, but very, very doubtful that they would end up with the 1 seed and get a bye. So we'll assume that they were either the 2, more likely the 3, probably seed, and they were in that conference semifinals game. They would be playing, because we had said before, whoever the team is that either has to play the Rapids and the Cobras, who projected to be the 1-2 early on before Ty got injured. We're like, it's going to be Rapids, Cobras in the conference finals. Now it's kind of like it could be any of those 2 to 5 teams, really. Yeah. And so that conference semifinals game, that's winnable for kind of any team. If the Bison make it to that game, do you think against any of those teams we're projecting 2 to 5 in the National Conference, can they win and get to the conference finals?
I think it's possible.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Here's what I'll say. I think they would have the worst chance against the underdogs because they have the best pitching. And I'll also say this. If the Bison do make the playoffs, like as a 2 seed, that probably means that James French is playing at least okay as a pitcher. And so then I would say they have a pretty good chance, probably 50-50 to beat any of those teams. But do I think that that will actually happen? You?
No. I mean, we made the odds, and our odds said that they.
But I mean, it's not out of. No. It's not crazy to say they're playing in the.
It's a great time to be alive in the National Conference. Got a lot of opportunity. If you're a team in the National Conference and you don't make the playoffs, you're one of the 2 out of the 5 teams that don't make the playoffs in this.
You're probably
in this. But later on, when after a couple more tournaments and you look back on this tournament, it's one of those things where you're really looking back and you're like, wow, what a missed opportunity we didn't make. Because it's going to get better. Yeah. The National Conference is going to bounce back and things are going to even out. It just happens with time. I think if you miss the playoffs in this tournament in the National Conference, which the Bison could, even though they're not a good team, they might look back on this and be like, wow, we could have really, stole one here.
Yeah.
So there's our Bison review. Got anything else to add about the good old Bison?
Not really.
I hope I hope this franchise has been bad for a number of tournaments now, and they used to be good in the past, and I'd really like to just see them get back to being a relevant franchise again in this league, because they're one of the founding 4 franchises, but also one of the franchises that really kickstarted the league and did a bunch of stuff early on to start make it grow to what it is now.
Actually has a history of winning.
Yeah, they help make it grow to what it is now. So I'd like to see them get back to winning. I mean, it's going to be a journey, though.
Yeah, I don't.
A lot of work to do, and I'm not sure their management is fully committed to really going for it. They kind of. So I don't know.
We'll see.
We will see.
All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. I think we maybe have one or two.
We've got the Fog and the Cobras left. The Fog, we should have Jacob Braun be guest on. So
that'll be interesting. So stay tuned for that one and the Cobras one. And see you next time.